So, but let's put this in a business context, because in the social context, I think I get that, and I think people get that pretty quickly. You know, AMD by its nature cares about 25 million people in the world who are processor aware, and they're not people walking in Best Buy, you know, buying necessarily asking for Cheerios, whatever it is. How should we as a company, in your thoughts, and how are other people thinking about this to affect a business change?
Well, I think the key word in what you just said is how are they thinking about it? Because it's not about the tools and technology, it's really a matter of mindset. I mean, you need to, as a company, or as a representative of the company, get to a point where we're tearing down these corporate images and people are interacting with that company by interacting with real people. So it's and I know that's really scary for companies because of this issue of control, and particularly for publicly traded companies with legal departments. It's incredibly scary. But what's great about it is it's really powerful when a person interacts with a person. For instance, the story that I love to tell, Starbucks is a company everyone hates because they feel like it's driving out the independent local coffee shops and neighborhoods. So it's a very big corporate sort of vilified company. My sister-in-law worked in radio. She's a DJ, very volatile industry. You know, they're always changing formats. People are getting laid off. She was one of her stations was going through that, and she got laid off. She was in her early 30s, single, had sort of relocated to a strange city for this job. Right about then, she got diagnosed with MS. So she was facing a situation where she had no health care and $5,000 a week in medical bills she was going to have to start paying, and felt horrible too on top of it. So she went and got a job at Starbucks as a barista. And if she worked an average of 20 hours a week, they paid full benefits and took care of everything, even with a pre-existing condition. So because I had a personal connection to Starbucks, because to me, Starbucks was now no longer about this big corporate company or Howard Schultz being on a cover of Business Week. It was about a company that saved my sister-in-law's life. I now have extreme loyalty to Starbucks. And that's something that only happens right now in these fluke, weird occurrences where I have to happen to know someone or have some personal experience. But what Web 2.0 does for companies is it gives a forum for that to happen over and over and over again. So the more someone feels like AMD isn't everything that, these buildings in Austin, or, this business headline about AMD and Intel that we sort of read over and over again, but they feel maybe it's you, and maybe it's someone who relates to you. It dramatically changes the feelings about that company, and that can ripple out in a million ways. It can ripple out into employing people who want to work for AMD, investors who want to own part of the company. As rational as we all are as beings, you can't underestimate how powerful a personal connection like that is.
So what's interesting about that thought is, and I was watching CNBC this morning, they have the CEO of Pepsi talking, and what she was saying, which I thought was interesting, was, they care about three things. They do care about the bottom line financially, but they also care about social responsibility, and they also care about doing the right thing from the an eco point of view. And I once heard that described like as a triple bottom line. So what I take away from what you said is, the finance people do the finance stuff, but there's another, the social and the eco stuff is a place that people can get connected to us.
Right. And it's not about the CEO. Frequently, the person who needs to be blogging, the person that needs to be building some sort of voice or community via Twitter or via Facebook, frequently it shouldn't be the CEO. It should actually be someone, a real person in the company. We all have those people in our company who either want to mother everybody, or there's the person who's having the weekly birthday party and organizing the cake. And these people who sort of emerge who are these busybody social chairs who probably, if you have to work next to them, annoy the hell out of you. But that is the perfect person to be one of these social media ambassadors for your community. And they kind of, if you give people permission to interact as an unofficial ambassador for your company, it'll self-select, and these things will just bubble out. I've seen it with a lot of companies. Ernst & Young, they were one of the first people to be really serious about Facebook for recruiting. And they approached it the exact right way. They had all the sort of stodgy E&Y people who had all these ways they wanted to approach it. And then they hired this youth marketing firm that was all, trying to get jiggy with their copy and all this. And both seemed ridiculous. instead, they brought in some interns who had just graduated from college, and they were like, do you guys use Facebook? How should we approach this? And the interns told them, don't try to be hip, don't try to be stodgy, just be clear and direct, and give people tools. Help them if they want to get a job at E&Y. Tell them what they need to do. And most importantly, don't use it to track and profile people and do demographic research. So E&Y really early on said, we're not going to Facebook stalk people. We're not going to spy on them. We're not going to try to glean all of these little things about their life. We're actually going to be really respectful and not go into their profile pages, but we'll create a space where if they want to come and interact with us, they can come and interact with us. As a result, Ernst & Young went from really low down on this list of companies college kids most want to work at. It was like in the hundreds. The next year after this program, it was the third highest rated company after Google and Apple that college kids wanted to work at.
Interesting. So one last question for me, and then I'll open it up. Second Life, alive or dead?
I'm dead, I think. Virtual worlds is a huge mystery to me right now because it's something I never ever hear about in Silicon Valley. I never get good virtual world pitches. When I'm out talking to entrepreneurs, no one brings it up. My investor friends who I asked sort of what the next hot thing, no one's ever talking about virtual worlds. But if you look at the numbers, investment in virtual worlds keeps getting bigger. I was just at the TechCrunch 50 conference. A very large number of the companies presenting were virtual world companies. It's actually, in China, there are billions of dollars being spent on virtual goods. There's actually more money spent online in China on virtual goods than online advertising. So I think it's a massive trend, but it's a trend that it's only people under the age of 20 are doing, or it's incredibly international. So I think it's something we need to wake up to and actually figure out what's happening there. But I think the reason we're ignoring it is because you think virtual worlds, you think Second Life, and Second Life is not it.
Well, listen, I think we could ask you questions all day, and actually people may stay behind and do that. But I'm really grateful that you took the time. I suspect you have, 1,700 people who are going to be following you on Twitter. Fortunately, on Facebook, you don't have to accept them, or they can just watch you tweeting. But I'm really grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Lacy. Okay, thank you very much, folks. I'm sure Sarah will be around if you have a couple more questions. Otherwise, thank you very much.